So today what we'll be doing is we'll be constructing graphs, right? The key graph that you need to be able to construct is a single line graph. So let's just go over a little bit of instruction as how to do that. So when you think of data that's being collected in surveys or experiments, the data is basically organized so that people can see patterns and draw conclusions. Displaying this information allows us to compare quantities and kind of see changes. So here's an example of a list of something for a single line graph. So now imagine I have this information for which I've got a number of weeks and a set of mass that is just tracking the mass of some animal for a couple of weeks, for 15 weeks. We're just tracking its weight, okay? All right, so maybe it's a dog that's 3.5 pounds in the first week and then 3.7 pounds in the second week and 3.8 pounds. And we want to see what information we can gather from looking at a line graph based on this. Now, how would we do that? Since we're using computers every day, I'm going to show you how to do this using Google Sheet. So in order to get the information for our graph, what you need to do is you need to copy what we've got from our table into our graph. The first column here is going to represent what goes on the x-axis of our graph. The mass is going to be what's represented as the up and down version of our graph. Now, in order to get our line graph, what we have to do is we're literally just going to do this. Select all of the information, including the titles for each column. Then what you're going to do is you're going to insert a chart, and it selects the appropriate chart for you. Now, if you wanted to change the chart, you could change it to something like this, a scatter plot chart, or just a simple line chart. Now, that's how we create a line chart in Google Sheets. So sheets.google.com gets you to something like this, then you can create it and make a name for it. So I will call this line chart 1. And we're done. And there you have it. You have your graph that looks like this, where we have our mass, our title for our y-axis, and our title for our x-axis. And remember, what you have to do is you have to select the first column and the second column together, and then insert a line chart, and you're done. Okay, so now when you get to your double line chart, there'll be a quick tutorial for that on the next slide. So take a moment and take a look at this next bit. We're going to talk about how we would do a double line graph. So the next type of graph that you should be aware of is this kind of graph. It's called a double line graph. Okay. Now, double line graphs come about by when you have a certain constant on the left side, which will still be our x-axis, right? And then the other two columns will represent the information that's going to be on the y-axis for our graph. So you need to select the entire set of information that we have for our graph. Now that you've done that, we're going to have to insert a chart. And when you insert the chart, Google Sheets will give you a simple scatter chart. Right now, that's not what we're looking for. What we have to do is we have to look for a suggested graph. And if you look over to the right here, we have a line chart, right? Okay, so we're going to select our line chart, or we can select other charts that are available here. A line chart here and a smooth line chart here, or all these other charts, right? One of them will represent the data the best, and in this case, our double line chart looks like this. Okay? And there we go. That's how you create your line chart. Now, for your homework, you'll have 3 or 4 charts to work on today and submit them as a Google document or a spreadsheet. It's up to you.